Ever notice how a billionaire and a homeless person can walk past each other on the same sidewalk, breathing the same air, yet they might as well be living on different planets? The distance between them isn't measured in feet, it's measured in everything else. Imagine for a second that you're standing at that exact intersection where their worlds collide. You've got a clipboard and you're tasked with documenting the differences. Where do you even start? Let's begin with the obvious: money. A billionaire has accumulated wealth that most people can't even conceptualize. We're talking 10 digits, maybe more. The homeless person might have a few crumpled bills in their pocket, if they're lucky. But here's the thing, it's not just about the dollar amount. See, money creates options, and options create entirely different realities. The billionaire wakes up in a penthouse with heated floors and a view that costs more per month than most people earn in a year. The homeless person wakes up under a bridge, in a shelter, or on a subway grate where warm air rises from below. Breakfast for one means a personal chef preparing organic, locally sourced ingredients. Breakfast for the other means hoping the soup kitchen opens on time or scrounging together enough change for a dollar menu item. Same basic human need, astronomically different execution. Now let's talk about time, because that's where things get really weird. The billionaire's time is considered infinitely valuable. People literally pay thousands just for 15 minutes of their attention. The homeless person's time is treated as worthless. They're often told to move along, stop loitering, stop existing in public spaces. Here's the irony. The billionaire probably has people managing their schedule down to 5-minute increments, while the homeless person has endless hours stretching before them with nowhere they're expected to be. One has too many demands on their time, the other has too few. Healthcare reveals another massive chasm. The billionaire gets preventive care, concierge medicine, access to experimental treatments that haven't even hit the market yet. They've got doctors on speed dial. The homeless person waits in emergency rooms for hours, often avoiding medical care entirely until a problem becomes life-threatening. One group prevents problems, the other survives them. Let's pivot to social capital for a moment. The billionaire has a network that could fill a stadium, powerful connections that open doors before they even need to knock. Every interaction is an opportunity. The homeless person has been systematically disconnected from most social networks. People avoid eye contact, cross the street, pretend they don't exist. Education and information access create yet another divide. The billionaire can hire experts on any topic imaginable, attend exclusive conferences, access proprietary research. They learn from the best because they can afford the best. The homeless person might rely on public libraries if they can get to one, assuming their belongings are safe while they're inside. Here's something people don't talk about enough. Legal systems treat these two groups like they're different species. The billionaire has lawyers on retainer who can navigate any complexity, exploit any loophole, delay any consequence. The homeless person gets public defenders stretched so thin they can barely remember their client's name. Justice isn't blind, it's got 20/20 vision for tax brackets. Mental health and stress manifest completely differently too. The billionaire might experience stress about market volatility, board meetings, or maintaining their empire. That's real stress, sure, but it's stress while sitting in ergonomic chairs with access to therapists and wellness retreats. The homeless person experiences trauma from violence, exposure to elements, constant uncertainty about survival. One group stresses about growth, the other stresses about existence. Privacy is another bizarre contrast. The billionaire can buy privacy-gated communities, private islands, NDAs, security teams. They choose when to be seen. The homeless person has virtually no privacy. They eat, sleep, and exist in public view. Their most vulnerable moments become street theater for passersby. Let's talk about agency and choice, because this might be the crux of it all. The billionaire's day is filled with choices: which meeting to take, which investment to make, which of their multiple homes to visit. Even their problems are essentially choices between good options. The homeless person's choices often boil down to survival calculations. Which shelter has beds available? Which area is safer to sleep in? Whether to spend limited money on food or socks. Future planning exists on completely different timelines. The billionaire thinks in decades, planning legacies and dynasties that will outlive them. They're worried about their great-grandchildren's trust funds. The homeless person thinks in hours or days. Where's the next meal? Where to sleep tonight? How to make it through winter? Society's response to their presence tells you everything you need to know about how we value human beings. When a billionaire enters a building, people scramble to accommodate them. Red carpets, metaphorical or literal, roll out. When a homeless person enters that same building, security is called. One presence is celebrated, the other is criminalized. Transportation highlights the absurdity too. The billionaire might own a private jet, never dealing with TSA lines or the indignity of commercial travel. They move through space effortlessly, insulated from the friction of normal transit. The homeless person might be kicked off public buses for not having exact change, or for how they smell after not showering for days. Here's where it gets really philosophical. Both are human beings with the same basic needs: food, shelter, safety, connection, purpose. Yet one group can satisfy these needs without thinking, while the other group thinks about nothing else. Same species, same fundamental biology, completely different universes of experience. The billionaire's problems get solved by throwing money at them. Staff handles logistics, experts handle specialties, money smooths every rough edge. The homeless person's problems compound because they lack the resources to solve any of them. Can't get a job without an address, can't get an address without money, can't get money without a job. Technology access creates yet another dimension of separation. The billionaire has the latest everything, seamless connectivity, smart homes that anticipate their needs. The homeless person might have a cracked phone they charge at libraries, if they have one at all. Information inequality mirrors every other inequality. Even their autonomy over their own bodies differs dramatically. The billionaire chooses when to eat, sleep, move, rest, total sovereignty over their physical existence. The homeless person faces constant intrusion. Police sweeps, shelter rules, public space restrictions. Their bodies are subject to regulations the housed never consider. But here's the twist that should keep us all up at night. Both situations are created and maintained by the same economic system. These aren't natural outcomes of talent or effort alone, they're features of how we've structured society. We've built a world where both extreme wealth accumulation and extreme poverty can coexist on the same street. The psychological impact runs deep on both ends, though differently. Studies show billionaires often experience isolation, paranoia about others' motives, difficulty forming genuine relationships. The homeless experience trauma, hypervigilance, and the psychological toll of being treated as invisible. Different flavors of suffering, both profoundly human. Climate and weather affect them with stunning inequality. The billionaire doesn't think about weather beyond choosing vacation destinations. They're always temperature controlled, always comfortable. The homeless person's survival literally depends on weather. Exposure kills, heat exhausts, rain soaks, cold freezes. Here's what really gets me. We've normalized this. We've accepted that these extremes can coexist without tearing apart the social fabric. We walk past both the penthouse and the tent encampment and treat it as just how things are. Public perception shapes everything about their experiences. The billionaires interviewed about their success secrets and innovative thinking. The homeless person is either invisible or viewed with suspicion and contempt. One is celebrated as aspirational. The other is treated as a cautionary tale or moral failing. Food security tells the whole story in miniature. The billionaire probably wastes more food in a week than the homeless person eats in a month. Excess versus scarcity, playing out 3 times a day, every single day. The ability to plan for contingencies reveals yet another gap. The billionaire has insurance for everything, backup plans for their backup plans, resources to weather any storm. The homeless person lives one accident, one illness, one theft away from an even worse situation. Resilience isn't about character, it's about resources. And here's the final kicker. These differences compound. Wealth builds wealth through investments and connections. Poverty compounds through fees, fines, and lack of access to building blocks of stability. The gap doesn't just exist, it grows, widening like a crack in pavement that becomes a chasm. So yeah, that's the distance between a billionaire and a homeless person on the same sidewalk. Same species, same fundamental needs, same planet, but might as well be different dimensions of reality. The question isn't really what separates them. The question is why we've decided this separation is acceptable. But that's a conversation for another day, assuming anyone's listening.